Well, hello, it's your old pal Jeffer, and I was setting up just kind of to warm up for another drawing, and started sketching, and then I was also rolling Cam Studio screen capture software, and was well into this before I realized I kind of liked the direction it was headed, and so I just decided to finish it off. So it's a little bit loose because I didn't start out with a concept, and just kind of created it as I went along. And as you can see, initially I kind of thought maybe he was some kind of creepy office worker, and then the more I worked on him, as I added the underpainting here that you can see, which is basically just kind of green for highlights and the skin tones, and purples for shadows, and then lots of different colors, reds and yellows and oranges and that sort of thing. And that's something that I found from traditional painting will give skin tone a lot of life if then you start painting your tans and regular skin tones over the top of that. In this particular case, I decided just to roll with the kind of greenish skin tones here that I was kind of seeing him maybe as just a creepy, weird office worker, maybe a zombie type character, Shaun of the Dead type, guy who's been bitten at work and wandering around still in his office garb. And then I decided later on just to go full on with a zombie character, and that's when it really started to come together for me. It gave me the freedom to first of all lose the short sleeve dress shirt and tie, and just kind of like in this particular case, I was trying to give him a torch in his hand, and later I thought about it, well, zombies don't really carry things around. They're, a torch, they're not bright enough to do that. They might be able to carry a simple object, which you'll see in a moment. I kind of came up with something very creepy to solve that. So here I am just carving away some of the muscles here. Instead of big muscle guy, I want him to be really thin and lean, and maybe he's just marching out of the grave and been laying there for a while contemplating what he's going to wreak his havoc on. The idea of the shrunken head kind of popped into my head because I figured, everybody is drawing skulls in their drawings these days, and so the shrunken head kind of takes it in a new direction and really kind of punches it over the top in terms of full-on creepiness. I went more direct with skin tone in this particular case, rather than kind of doing the underpainting, because I figured, okay, the zombie at least has some life in him, and then the shrunken head obviously hasn't had any life in it in a long time. In a while you'll see that I have the zombie head on its own layer. In fact, I'm working pretty much everything on its own layer. It just makes it very convenient to do edits and touch-ups and changes to it. And so I have the zombie head on its own layer. I put it in a group, and then I start messing with color balance, as you see here, kind of matching it more for the rest of the painting. Later, what I do is I roll that back in terms of the opacity on that color balance layer, and kind of get a skin tone that I'm a little happier with. I think I might have maybe, looking back in this now, might have left it in kind of this green, greenish blue look that was kind of nice. But anyway, these are decisions you make just kind of as you roll along. Here's another thing that's kind of nice. I discovered recently using textures, and you just put them on their own layer, and you can, in this case I think one was on a multiply layer and the other one was on a overlay layer, and then you just dial the opacity way back, and it adds a grunge to the background here that you can hand paint, but it's just a shortcut that makes it nice and simple to get some texture in there real quickly, kind of grunge up. One of the problems with digital paintings is they can look a little too clean and pristine, and textures will kind of grunge things up for you a little bit. Let's see here. In terms of those, the outline here, I drew that on its own layer, and then I decided it was a bit bright, so I just rolled the opacity back there. Another advantage of working on layers. And then those tassels coming off of the shrunken head, I decided that those were just kind of distracting ultimately, and so I started to lose them. And then unfortunately somehow I had merged the string layer and the outline layer, and so you'll see I have to do a little repair when I get rid of them, but that's no small thing. You can just go ahead and deal with that. So anyway, well, we're nearing the end here, and hopefully this has been helpful. You know, if you have any questions, I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just learning as I go along here. And but if you'd like, you can ask questions in the comments below. And if enough of you ask about particular things, maybe using layers or textures or whatever, I can do a video about that as well. So hopefully this has been helpful and that you've enjoyed watching this little sketch. Like I say, initially it was just, I didn't have anything in mind and just started sketching and painting, and out comes Mr. Zombie carrying a shrunken head. Oh man, I need help. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed this, and please stop by my website, jeffer.com, and then also I'll put a link to my blog, which I kind of keep current, which has a link to my Facebook page, and usually I'm a little more active there just because it's easier to keep those updated. So thanks for stopping by, and have a good one.